Anyway, introduce yourself.
Okay, hello, my name is Kris N. I've been doing panels for AnimeNext for 4 years now. I feel so special. This panel was first done in 2003. Professionally, I've written for Anime Insider, Anime News Network, and I'm saying it up front now that I currently work for Pokemon USA. But anything I say in here, shut up, Ian. Anything I say in here is not reflective of like the company's views, mostly because I don't want to get fired, so I don't want to see anything on the internet. This person from Pokemon said, okay? Just letting you know, I am not an idiot and I have professional qualifications.
And for the other two panels that we do today, that will be the exact disclaimer she said before we get everything started.
I like health insurance.
Exactly, as do I, and hopefully I'll have it someday again. I'm Ian Levenstein. I haven't written for anybody. I'm a college student who's basically almost out of college. Got one more class to go. I've got two podcasts that I do online. One's called Geek Speak over at speakgeekspeak.com. I got another one called Comic Timing. It's all about comic books, which has nothing to do with this panel whatsoever, but I'll mention it anyway. speakgeekspeak.com/comic timing. And other than that, I've been into anime for years now, and I've been into geekdom for years now, and well, eventually it led me here, so there you go.
This one is loud, yeah.
Okay, well, you can hear us both, right? All right, just making sure. Okay.
Okay, so yes, welcome to the Anime Manga Influence. Of course, this is where we talk about all those wonderful big eyes and sweat drops that have been showing up in a lot of American products, both comic books and animation. Stuff like Teen Titans. Let's get it out right now. Totally Spies is French, okay? I don't need to hear stupid Americans ripping off anime. It is French, as is Code Lyoko.
Oui.
Yeah, and
Martin Mystery?
which one?
What?
Martin Mystery.
Martin Mystery. That one I don't know.
Martin Mystery. What's that on?
It's it used to be on Nick, but now it's only still on Nick too.
Okay. I haven't actually seen that one, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Everything on Nickelodeon, though, is usually Nickelodeon Productions because they, again, I'll say this again, a lot of networks love having original programs because then they can make toys and t-shirts based on it. So everything on Nickelodeon, I think, is an original property. So.
At least these days, at least. Every now and then you'll find something on Nicktoons that isn't originally a Nickelodeon product. But
AnimeNext.
AnimeNext, Tiny Toons, that sort of stuff. But the main Nickelodeon stuff is almost all Nickelodeon Productions. So, yeah. Now, comic books. As influenced as cartoons these days, or less influenced?
Well, here we can talk about this because it just happened, was it last week? Tokyo Pop renaming their manga line Global Manga.
Global Manga. What do you guys think about that? Global Manga. Does that sound like a good marketing campaign or what? I don't know.
Well, originally it used to be AmeriManga, and the fact was that a lot of it wasn't coming out of America, so there was kind of like one of those people that objected to the AmeriManga label. So they tried World Manga for a while, and they admit it didn't sound as good, so Global Manga.
I mean, that does cover everybody, and it does sort of roll off the tongue a bit. I mean, AmeriManga, I'm sorry, that's just bad. I mean, when you think about it, it reminds me of the days when they used to call anime Japanimation. You know, it's one of those like roll off the tongue things that doesn't roll the right way, if that makes any sense. You know.
Have you seen today's New York Post about the Japanimation convention at Secaucus?
Really? Wow.
The Pulse section.
Where's that taking place? I forgot.
The Japanimation convention.
Exactly. Yeah, because.
I think that's what happens on the lawn every couple of hours when all the Inuyasha cosplayers get together.
Well, also that's the thing. That's the thing. Also, even though they've named it, they changed the name to Global Manga. There will be people who still call it AmeriManga because those old names they stick around for a while in a lot of people's heads. So it's still Japanimation to some people out there, surprisingly enough.
Well, they're mostly older people.
Yeah.
But I'm mostly wondering is how far do you have to go until it is no longer considered even manga-like? Because a lot of this global manga doesn't even look Japanese to me at all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these days, a lot of the American companies, like stuff like Marvel and DC, they're turning to a lot more artists that are manga-based in their style. I mean, with comics that I read back about a year or two ago, stuff like Sentinel and stuff like Runaways. Well, Runaways is still on now, but a lot of the Marvel comics are turning to more of a manga style. Every now and then they'll get an actual Japanese artist to do it, but there are a lot of American artists that are going for that manga style. Similarly, there are Japanese guys out there who are trying to emulate an American style. So it's like they're trading up.
Well, we had Adam Warren was a big proponent of that. He used to do the American Dirty Hero comics.
Yeah.
And then he did like a Teen Titans comic in that style.
Okay.
So now it's kind of like he's backed off. He only does covers. But then on the flip side of like Japanese people working in the American industry, we have Kia Asamiya who drew X-Men,
which
like actual X-Men for like 2 years.
And that was not well received by a lot of the a lot of the Uncanny fans out there. A lot of the fans of X-Men didn't really receive it that well. I mean, I myself really didn't mind it too much, but there were a lot of people out there who right away said, "Oh, well, what's this doing in my American comic?" I'm like, well, if you're not going to be accepting of that, if you're not going to be accepting of different styles, then I mean, well, what's the point? But I mean, I wasn't too down on it. Let's put it that way. I mean, I read it, I enjoyed it. Just the writing could have been better, but that's not his fault. So.
Well, yeah, the writing's pretty bad, but I think it's really silly to be like, oh, it looks Japanese, I don't like it anymore, because that's been around for at least maybe 15 years now in American comics. I used to read, again, we're bringing up X-Men again, when Joe Maduro used to draw it, he has very animated swing.
I learn something new every day, actually. I didn't know that he changed anything.
In the Age of Apocalypse storyline, half of the costumes were based on like Ghost in the Shell.
That's awesome. Wow, right there. Well, and Joe Mad's back in comics now. He's going to be, I know, yeah. He's going to be doing, for those of you who read Ultimates, I'm not quite sure if anybody out there actually does, he's going to be doing the version 3 of that with Jeff Loeb, another famous, he does stuff for Smallville on TV, and he does Superman, Superman Batman. Sure.
I wanted to mention when you said that, like, people will look at these American comics and say, oh, it's like Japanese comics, they don't like it. People look at Japanese comics, they don't like it. Well, I have this law with the anime fans and American comics. I have friends who are anime fans, they don't read American comics.
Yeah.
I like American comics too, so
which is why we do these panels.
Exactly. I mean, as a guy who reads as much manga as he reads comics, I'll certainly say that. I mean, you got to be able to be accepting of it. Let's put it that way. I mean, think of it this way. A lot of people just put manga in one specific genre, like, oh, that's all manga. But there's a lot of different genres out there. I mean, there's comedy manga, there's action manga, there's cat girl manga. I mean, there's so many different things out there. If you don't like one specific manga, don't give up on the genre. See, there's stuff out there that you can actually find that you actually do enjoy. There's way too many people out there that I know that have tried it once and just aren't accepting of it at all.
And on the flip side, there's lots of different types of American comics.
Exactly.
It's not all, it's not all underwear perverts.
Yeah. and they're not all superheroes also. I mean, there's plenty of comics out there.
Or is that's Canadian, right?
Well,
no, Honobaku, I think he's from like LA.
I think he's from LA, yeah. I think he's actually from America. He's got a bit of a Canadian style, so I can understand why
you know what? Let's just say this. If you like Invader Zim, remember that is an American comic artist who did that. It is not anime. It is not even that anime inspired. It's just that Honen Vasquez is insane.
Yes. He is a man who will do absolutely anything, and it works for him. Let's put it that way. But way too many people out there see it and automatically say, oh, well, wow, that's a really interesting anime out there. I'm like, what? So, but, I lost my train of thought now. So
I was going to say, if you are not Japanese, you do not have the right to look at any animation and call it anime. Anime is the word they use in Japan for everything animated. So Toy Story is animated. But we are American, just like we use otaku differently. Anime has a different meaning here. Please respect that.
Exactly.
Because it's just, because we talk about an anime style, and
well, that's why, Teen Titans, a lot of people, it's a quote-unquote American anime, and no, that's just, it might be Japanese-inspired, but it's still American animation. I mean, you could put,
same writers.
Exactly, yeah, and also, see, that's a bit of a line you can cross there, because, well, if a Japanese artist works on the project, can it be considered anime?
Well, he's born in America.
Okay.
Because everyone has their own opinion of where the line is. I was talking to my friends before, tripping about Oban Star Racers, which is a French-Japanese co-production. And we mentioned shows that are anime-inspired, done by the French. Now the French are actually working with Japan, just like with Toonami is working with Bandai to make IGPX.
And just like Nickelodeon is now working on an anime with people in Japan. There's one, I think it's called Akihabara Go, which is...
Oh, that's a new one for this fall.
Yeah, that one's new for this fall that Nickelodeon's working on with people over in Japan.
We have Cop of Mikey right now.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty good.
Yeah. And again, a lot of stuff, if it's financed by American companies and it's done in Japan, you can basically say that that's an anime. But if it's done here with American folks, then the line could be a bit more skewed.
Eventually, I'll get to you in just a second, I'm sorry. I think it's getting very complicated because American companies are paying for anime.
Yeah.
Big O season 2, perfect example.
Yeah.
That would not. I mean, it says produced by Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Which, mind you, is rare even for Cartoon Network because they don't like to pay for things. They are cheap.
But then again, it had fantastic ratings here in America. And I mean, they saw that because, I mean, in Japan, it wasn't nearly as big as it was here. I think it was big here because it reminded a lot of people of a lot of the stuff that happens here in America. I mean, when I watched Big O, I thought that meant the animated series because it had a very similar style to that, similar dark atmosphere going on.
Let's remember that this is another interesting thing. We talk about the Japanese influence on America. America does influence Japan.
Sure.
It all started with Tezuka and the Big Eyes, like the Big Eyes in Disney cartoons, because the windows of the soul. And it just continues. You look at, there's that episode of Cowboy Bebop, Pour le Faux. The whole end sequence where Spike is battling the crazy fat sidekick guy is totally out of a Batman episode.
Yeah.
It's the style of the episode, the props. That was a trademark of the early Batman and the animated series. They like to do set pieces.
And that was totally a Batman villain too. I mean, you could basically take that guy out of the Cowboy Bebop universe and put him in a Batman animated series episode and it would totally work. So.
Except you can't kill him at the end.
Well, exactly. You can't kill him at the end because you can't punch anybody or stab anybody or crazy tools like that. But you can use lasers. Lasers are perfectly fine. So.
Because they don't show marks.
Exactly. And because you can't go to the store and just buy a laser.
Okay. Yeah. Now we'll get to you.
Yes.
I was wondering because one of the things I was considering for a job in my future was going to Japan and becoming a manga artist. But since I'm American, would that be still considered anime if I was becoming an anime?
If you worked in, we already established the Japanese, it's anime, it's manga, it doesn't matter where you're from.
Yeah.
Now, if you bring it back to the U.S., the thing is, I think people might still consider it anime because you would not be the first. You have people like Jan Scott Fraser, trailing before you. I mean, that's really interesting that they have imported people.
Yeah.
To be honest, though, I don't want to give advice, but I think you'd be better off staying here because the culture is so, the production culture over there is so different. It's not unusual for a manga artist to have 5 assistants doing most of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you've ever read a Hellsing manga, they'll have in the corner, Kota will be begging and pleading for assistance because that's the way things work over there. They have a lot of people helping them out with the project.
Yeah, the manga artist whose name is actually in the book might only draw the characters, and all the backgrounds might be done by their assistants.
Yeah, and Photoshop.
Very different culture. Yeah, Photoshop and these things called the screen tones. They actually have backgrounds and patterns that you can buy at the store. They're all acetate, and you can lay it down on your sheets. So when they go into production, you don't have to draw, a Victorian house. You don't have to draw that little flower pattern. Look at any manga nowadays. Just look if you see an intricate pattern that looks like it's done by a computer. It probably was.
Okay.
But I think it looks nice. It's a very different culture in Japan, the way they produce stuff. And that is kind of off topic. So we'll get back.
Well, let's go on topic with something like a Megas, Megas
XLR. I love Megas XLR, and the guy, I went to San Diego Comic-Con 2 years ago when the show was still in production.
Yeah.
Damn Cartoon Network. And the guys basically explained it like this. This is totally, they're upfront. Yeah, we're based on anime because they said we love anime. We love when the blue-haired girl is playing the flute and suddenly the world is saved. We love how they sing a song and all these robots come out of nowhere and they all have psychic powers. And, they just went on for several minutes like that. And then they said, yeah, we love anime. We just don't understand it. And that's why we made this show.
And you know what? Honestly, that's as much of a tribute as it is anything else, Megas. I mean, some people would say that that's straight out parody or it's bastardizing it, but yeah, it's good parody because these guys actually, like you just said, they might not understand it, but they watch this stuff. They know about it, and they're not just making something because, hey, wow, those eyes look kind of cool. Let's see if we can do something like that.
You can always tell when an anime parody is actually made by people that have seen anime.
Yeah.
Megas is a good example. The South Park episode.
Yes.
Where they pretend they're ninjas.
Let's fighting love.
Yeah. Anybody who's ever watched anime knows about the whole Japanese thing where they just throw in random lyrics that don't mean anything.
Yes.
Because if you guys ever actually looked up the lyrics to the song, they sing the Japanese lyrics. It's all about, Lisa says, protect my balls. The whole thing is about testicles. And then all of a sudden there's let's finding love.
Well, that's like, I mean, if you've ever watched like a yaoi or a hentai, the opening might seem very, very happy and friendly until you actually look at the lyrics, and then you're probably going to think a bit differently about that song. So, I mean, that's the way that the openings work. They love it, well, they'll do something about it, and that's what South Park did with that episode. So.
Well, it was popular, and they do try to tap into the, I love using words like this, cultural zeitgeist.
Yes, exactly. Over there.
Among others, South Park did the Akira parody of the notebook that came alive, the Trapper Keeper.
Yes, I'll just summarize really quickly. Cartman got the world's most intelligent trapper keeper, and he would sing this little song like, I don't want to wait for my trapper keeper to be over. And the thing had a little computer chip, and I don't remember, did he try to get rid of the trapper keeper or something?
No, I think he was totally into it, and it started to like
take over his brain.
Other like calculators and junk.
Yeah, like the Terminator came back from the future to like get rid of it.
Yeah. By the end of the episode, he had merged with the trapper keeper, who was a giant blob, and they actually had the music from Akira, the dum, 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 and he's like rampaging through South Park.
Then he gets squashed a la what's her name.
Oh yeah. Well, and also, I mean, there's plenty of other shows out there that have had their anime moments. I mean, come on, Japanese seizure robots on The Simpsons. I mean, when I watched that for the first time, I'm cracking up hysterically on the floor because it's like, how many shows have you watched where there's blinking lights for no reason whatsoever in a Japanese anime? You know?
I feel bad, but we all know what they're really making fun of, and it's the Pokemon seizure episode.
Yeah.
Which will never be seen in the States.
Yes, exactly, because we don't want people to suddenly be on the floor spazzing. So.
But, okay, going off topic just for a bit, I just wanted to say what amused me about that incident is, okay, so there's this episode of Pokemon, and like these missiles get shot at Pikachu, and Pikachu shocks them, and it flashes yellow and red and blue like repeatedly, and 800 Japanese school children have epileptic attacks. Later that night, the news is reporting on this very tragic incident. You know, 800 Japanese school children were made epileptic by this scene, and they showed the scene. And another 500 people had to go to the emergency room.
Okay, I gotta tell you, that is worse than Fox News right there. Oh man, like 12,000 people committed suicide with this very episode, and then they show the entire thing, and you wonder why there's more people dead the next day.
You know what it'd be like? It'd be like mysterious people. You know, people have been dying mysteriously after watching this video, and then they put on the radio.
Have you ever seen actual like Japanese television? It's really funny. It's like all the prank stuff.
Well, yeah, and also, I mean, even though this isn't anime parody, but I mean, there've also been plenty of shows that have done the parodies of the game shows in Japan, where you know, like you need to exactly. The Simpsons has done it, and a lot of other people have done it also, where you know they'll go on the game show and they need to like eat live snails and while running across a racetrack and all this crazy stuff because they're just interesting over there. Yeah. Oh, SNL. Yeah. No. SNL. Did they ever continue that, or was that only a one-time thing?
I never watched enough SNL.
Okay. All right.
It makes me sad inside. I think Japanese culture in general is coming over. I mean, look at that terrible dub of Takeshi's Castle that they call MXC. Yeah, I mean, if you're not familiar with Takeshi's Castle, I think it's the most awesome game show ever. So they just take like 200 people and they put them through these games of the most humiliating, grueling, nasty, like, trials until one person is left. Sadly enough, in 3 years of the show, only one person actually won, because that's how bad it is. But then
and that one person's name? Chuck Norris. True story.
But then they brought it over, and they cut it down to a half an hour. I think it was an hour-long show, and they just made it team versus team. But it's not team versus team. It's every person out for themselves.
Yeah.
But, you know, the fact is, Japanese are very good at, like, slapstick humor, visual humor, and that translates very well to American audiences, honestly. We love slapstick. We don't want to admit it, but we love it.
And, I mean, all I need to mention, when you talk about the bad dubs and all that, Iron Chef. I mean, Iron Chef was great, I mean, because of the dub. I mean, come on, everybody's got to admit that. There were two people sitting there in a room doing every single voice. I mean, it's the old days of Japanese, you know, like Kung Fu movies all over again, you know? And then they bring it over here to America with Iron Chef America, and, well, it's not the same because you can actually hear their real voices, you know? And
I think they lost the humor of it because saying things like, in Kitchen Stadium, and they have, like, the platforms come up. It's very dramatic.
Biting that pepper is just the best moment in the history of television right there, because you can see like the enthusiasm on his face as he bites into that delicious pepper, the most wonderful thing he's ever tasted in his life, and you think to himself, I have found heaven. Anybody have any questions or anything out there in the audience? Anybody at all? No? Okay, all right.
I think because I think we should get back to the anime manga thing.
Yeah. Let's roll back to the manga exactly. Now, I mean, every single month you see when a new volume of Fruits Basket comes out, it's #1 on the bestseller list. So, I mean, that says something about how well the manga is selling here in America.
Oh, and it's gonna just do better because Tokyo Pop actually did the smart thing and signed a deal with, I think it's HarperCollins to distribute.
Okay.
So before, I mean, they were probably because they were going through standard channels, they were going through Diamond and all that. Now it's just they got HarperCollins behind them. They're one of the biggest publishers in America. So
that's great.
I mean, well, you might have thought, oh, it's a bubble that's gonna pop. I don't think so now.
Well, that's why, I mean, also, if you look at it, a lot of the American comics out there have gone to a quote-unquote manga-style format for their trade paperbacks. I mean, the little ones, like Spider-Girl, for instance, I'll do an example there, because I've been reading Spider-Girl since it first started coming out, but it's never really sold well in collections until they made it into a small little manga-sized trade paperback. Exactly.
I mean, the whole
those go
thing
for what, like $9.99?
Yeah, $9.99 or less.
Yeah.
Okay, this is an interesting thing, because we're all talking about manga's been revolutionized, everybody reads manga now, but it's not that
After like Sailor Moon, Pokemon,
well, that and the price point, because nobody was buying, like, okay, so Sailor Moon was like 96, 97, Pokemon started in 98 or so, and Dragon Ball, was like 97 also. But Tokyo Pop started publishing these small books in about 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
It's the price point, because I have a complete collection of Battle Angel Alita from before they went to the small books. It was $17 a piece.
Wow.
$17. The only reason I have them is because I got a discount.
Yeah.
So you could get manga if you wanted it. There was some good stuff out there. There was Alita, Sanctuary. You could get Ranma if you wanted to. So this is big stuff now.
Yeah.
But back then it wasn't so big. This was $17, and a lot of American fans look at it and like, this isn't even in color, and I'm paying $17 for it.
Which says something now, because I mean the ones that are in color, the American comics usually sell for $17. So that sort of says something right there.
Yeah.
When manga went to the smaller format, they got a lot more people because of the price point.
It's cheaper, yeah, because people buy mass market paperbacks like crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, a lot of people bought the hardcover of Da Vinci Code, but I'm sure a lot more people bought that tiny little $7, red covered book. I know I did. Yeah, and I haven't read it.
I mean, also the internet has helped it out a lot, because a lot of sites out there will sell it for even cheaper than you can find it in the stores. Yeah. Amazon does it. In Stock Trades, if you haven't heard of it before, it's a great place to get trade paperbacks. InStockTrades.com. They just started getting in manga as well, and they're selling these things for as cheap as like $3 a piece. And I mean, that's great for a lot of people out there. I got most of my volumes of Death Note off of there, and I mean that helped me out a lot, because I wasn't going to pay like $8 or $9 for every single volume, and even cheaper there, so there you go.
I mean, so it's definitely making manga more accessible. It's pissing off some older fans. I remember the manga editor at Viz was all like, people don't like quality anymore, they just want it cheap, they don't like the nice paper and the beautiful covers. I'm like, yeah, well, you're charging $17 for it.
Yeah. Also, I like to add that your reference terms, they vary yourself a lot too, because, for instance, I'm from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And I came all the way from Puerto Rico for the con, actually.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's very difficult to find the manga, because, number one, they're in English, and the language is speaking basically Spanish.
Yeah.
Less than 1/3 of the population actually speaks English, so it's difficult to find them, and the internet has made that a lot more accessible.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, without a doubt. I thought I heard something about them translating more of the manga here in the States. Was I right about that, or into other languages, putting them out there into
other languages? Well, okay, so America's always been the leader when it comes to licensing.
Yeah.
Like, something is made in Japan, and then it's usually licensed in America first, and they end up bringing it to other countries. Like, okay, here I go with this is my job, Pokemon. We're actually, even though we're called Pokemon USA, we actually do manage Europe and South America.
Okay.
I mean, our parent company, in Japan only actually does Asia.
Coming soon.
I'm not trying to offend Africa. I know South Africa has some money and the cities have money, but everybody else, literacy rate is very low.
Sure. Literacy. That's great. That's great. Of all the words to mispronounce, she mispronounces the word literacy.
Well, at least she didn't pronounce.
Thank you very much.
I mispronounced it.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. There's a reason why we do these panels, folks. It's so that we can become better public speakers. But
I took a class.
Yeah, so did I. There you go.
My final speech was on shoujo manga.
Hey, there you go. And I did a speech on Marvel Comics. So, shlomi o shlomazel.
On an hour of sleep.
Yeah, exactly. But
back on topic.
Back on topic, exactly. Back on topic. You're talking about your Pokemon stuff.
Well, no, I'm just saying that. Oh, okay. Leading off from that is that stuff will be licensed in America first, and then they bring it to other countries. Like 4Kids dubs Yu-Gi-Oh, right? And then they will send it to France and have it dubbed into French, and then they will send it to Germany and have it dubbed into German.
Yeah.
It always starts with the U.S. That's why I hate using this phrase, but you will see a trickle-down effect.
Yeah.
It's basically, that's what it is. It's like once it becomes big in America, they have the money to start bringing it to other smaller countries.
Yeah.
But there are some exceptions, right? Because I saw the Spanish version of Shaman King before they did the US.
So it might have been a different licensing.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they do actually have, the multiple licenses for multiple countries, so that could certainly
Because, okay, with books, I don't necessarily know how, like, manga goes, but books actually do have exclusive publishers for each language. They don't do it by country, but they do it by language.
Okay.
So there will be one publisher for the English version. There will be a publisher for the French version, and that'll be sold in France and in Quebec and, like the French countries in Africa or whatever, right? And there'll be the one publisher for Chinese. So, but basically, with like the English thing, the English version they'll get the same version in the U.S., the UK, and Australia. They'll just localize it slightly, so you get the OU, instead of just plain color.
Yeah.
There's a lot of manga online. Like, I've read manga before they even came out, like Ants, I read that.
That's called scanlations.
Like, how does that affect the culture of the manga? How does it affect it? Makes it easier to, like, it makes it more available on, sorry,
Yeah.
It makes it more
Well, honestly, it can be a double-edged sword, though, because with the scanlations, there will be people out there who read the scanlations and then say, oh, I have the scanlations at home, well, I obviously don't need to go out and buy this at the store now. And, while they can be good for some people to, discover new things.
Like fan subs.
Exactly. It's a similar sort of thing there. But also, there will be things like, I'll mention Hellsing offhand, where when it was done here in America, they put these, crazy accents onto the Germans and on the page. So you would be reading it and it had this German accent, while in the scanlations, it was just straight English. So
The translators for the official manga will be better.
Yeah.
They went to college for this. They
Yeah.
might have actually lived in Japan. You have to be a translator in Japan. You have to take a test.
Yeah.
And it's a very hard test.
yeah.
So, because I love I'll get to it in a second. I'm really sorry. Like, I am a big fan of Del Rey's translations. I think they are absolutely amazing.
That I
They're
would
very
definitely
respectful
agree
to the
with,
original text. And I like the fact that these people know Japanese, they're also educated.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm talking about Tsubasa. I love Tsubasa. And they actually spelled Fai's name the right way, F-A-I, because in English, you can't spell it F-A-Y, which is what they do in a lot of fan things. Because in English, F-A-Y is Faye,
Yeah.
right? I'm not hallucinating this, right? Yeah, or just like his last name, the way the Japanese spell it, the Japanese, they just put English words in there. They display it like fluorite, like fluoride.
Yeah.
But in Del Rey, they're like, no, it's supposed to sound like flow right, like water flowing, flow right. So they spell it right. I find that, I like that better because it is more, I think it's more true to the intentions. It's more educated.
Yeah, and Del Rey also, one thing that they definitely do that I want to praise them for is that almost with every single thing that they come out with, they'll have in the back the cultural references that you might not have gotten, where instead of taking them out and Americanizing them, they'll leave them in, and then once you're done with it, you go to the back, you read it, you're like, oh, that's what that meant, and you're actually learning a bit more about Japanese culture that way than you would if they, Like let's say, for example, we all remember back in the day when they used to change green tea to Snapple. That takes.
Wait. Donuts instead of onigiri.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that does take a bit away from the property, and by just putting those sort of quote unquote translations as they were into the back, that helps a lot of people out. And they're like, they can learn a bit more about the culture that way, and I like that a lot. So.
I kind of want to get more into the influence thing because I think we're just musing about manga now.
Okay.
Here's a topic up for discussion. Perfect Hair Forever.
Ah, yes. Perfect Hair Forever, which has been canceled. We'll say that right off the bat here. So
they renewed Tom Goes to the Mayor.
They did. Later tonight, Adult Swim Revolution, midnight until 2 a.m. Thank you very much, or earlier than that, depending on when we want to get out of there. But Perfect Hair Forever was a pure. I can't even say parody, because
it was, you know what it was? It was like the William Street version of an anime.
Yeah.
You look at a William Street show, and then you just put anime plots in there, that's Perfect Hair Forever.
For people who say that anime doesn't make any sense, sit down and watch Perfect Hair Forever and tell me that makes more sense than an anime, because I would not be able to see that at all. I mean, I only saw the pilot, I'll admit that, because after that it was like, I like weird things, and that was even too weird for me. So I sat there and watched that, and it felt like the only way I would have actually understood the thing in the first place. But mind you, okay, not advocating drug use, never used one in my life, but still, the fact remains, I don't know what the hell these guys were on when they made this in the first place, because it was just odd.
It's the same stuff they're on when they do Aqua Teen, but
yeah, exactly.
Another panel,
exactly.
another time.
I know, yeah. I mean, do you feel that they were like sort of? Do you think they were ragging on anime, or do you think this is just?
Well, okay, this has been up for debate. That some people say they really, really hate. They actually hate anime over, at Cartoon Network, because let's face it, they only show it like really late, and they're always getting rid of anime shows or like cutting them in half. Like you gotta wait like 6 months for the rest of the episodes. And I mean, part of that is the fact that Cartoon Network likes its original properties and it wants to push stuff like Aqua Teen because they can sell more toys based on it. They don't have the license to sell Inuyasha toys.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, I also think, well, actually, with Adult Swim and anime, it doesn't fit the crowd. I think because it's on so late.
Yeah.
I can't even stay up for that stuff. I just end up getting the DVDs, and I don't remember where the set started.
I mean, does it mean that there's an audience out there who, well, I guess there wasn't because everything was canceled already, but I mean, is there an audience out there that would rather watch, somebody completely ragging on this stuff than, actually sitting down and watching a full anime? I mean...
Well, you don't have to pay attention to a parody or a comedy.
True.
That is the biggest factor, I think, that makes... Late night TV is very different from normal TV because, like, what is it? Mostly talk shows. You don't have to watch a talk show every day. You can watch it once a week, once a month. You're fine. You'll get the jokes because they're all relevant to just that episode. And Adult Swim, a lot of that, like, yeah, it's very episodic. They don't do serial storylines. It's just kind of haphazard because they figure, well, maybe this person will watch it this one night, but the next night they have a paper to write, or they have to get up early, for a test, or, for work.
I'd still be very curious, though, like, if they showed this sort of as a test to, like, maybe a room full of Japanese to see what they would think about Perfect Day Forever, if they would start, like tearing the room apart, or whether they would say, haha, silly Americans, and just walk out of the room, because, I mean, it's not what anime is at all,
Well, one anime refers to all animation.
Exactly, I know.
So it's a very high art form.
Yeah. Okay, well, fine, our anime, but I mean, even the American, quote unquote American anime, which you said doesn't even really exist, but I mean, even that is higher quality.
They might get slightly insulted, but to be honest, I don't care because they make fun of Americans all the time.
Yes.
We're merging cultures. Get used to it. We're gonna make fun of you if you're gonna make fun of us. It's only fair.
And I mean, this might very well lead to. Well, they've realized now. Well, Perfect Day Forever didn't really have much of an audience. We had to cancel it. Maybe we should go.
Storyline. I think that's one of the problems.
That's certainly a possibility. But I mean, this might very well make them say, well, let's see, the parody route didn't work. Maybe we should just try and make, I don't know, better animation.
They also said that comedy.
Back there. 52 in Japan. That's actually good. Honestly, a lot of American comics go to places like England and areas like that before they'll go to the further foreign, further east countries like Japan and all that. They will get the collected editions, but the individual comics, I don't know.
They don't really do individual comics because there's no market for it.
Yeah, similar.
Japanese comics are distributed through the phone books, those huge ass manga magazines, that are like that wide.
Yeah. They
don't do individual issues. That is purely an American thing. So you're not going to see 52 in like a standard comic format.
But do pick up 52. It's good stuff.
The trade will make it over there because they do sell trades in Japan. I know Batman's very popular with the Japanese.
Yeah, Sophia's Batman story was it was so well selling that they brought it over here eventually. So I mean, there will be American properties that do end up in their own manga or in their own maybe collected graphic novels in Japan, but the actual American comics, you'll probably only be able to find in collections of which. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the fact that sometimes they're a little bit longer than the Japanese comics that are in some of these magazines, and the fact that there is a flood. It's not like the manga industry is dying or suffering in Japan at all. It's still doing great. It's still 40% of the publishing output. So they've got so many people over there who want to do it. I mean, it'd be kind of unfair to like start putting American properties in there.
Well, it is kind of curious though. I mean, with how much that manga has been growing here, and how much of the market here is slowly becoming manga, I guess it hasn't really reached Japan where Japan's getting some of our American stuff.
There's still too much blood over there. It's gonna be a very long time before we have any kind of significant impression on the Japanese comics market. Anime, however, we already discussed that we are actually co-funding a lot of productions now because they are making a lot of money overseas now. It's becoming a very profitable business.
And just how, I mean, independent comics here in America don't get nearly as much press as, say, a DC or a Marvel does. I mean, just like over there, the major Japanese companies are going to get more press than an American company would get. So that's another thing.
It's a two-part thing, and it's too off topic, whatever.
That's fine.
A few years ago, probably around 2000, 2001-ish, there were two things that I'm thinking of was what's his name? Miyazaki had said in an interview that he was worried about the future of Japanese animation and that it might die out for a large portion in like 5 to 10 years. Also, and at the same time, I had spoken to some people from like CPM who said basically, as far as the Japanese,
I forget which voice actor it was. Somebody told a story about a recent con they went to in Japan where they were walking around and all of a sudden, somebody went up to him and said, "Oh, who are you with?" He said, "Oh, well, I do a voice for such and such." They're like, "Oh, you do a voice in America, huh?" Like, yeah. Oh, okay. And walked away as if that they were sort of bastardizing it or something along those lines. But they will have a different view in Japan of the American market here for a long time to come because it's hard to break those stereotypes. But they do realize that it is marketable for them to bring it over here in America.
There's nothing much I can say to that. It's becoming a big business. I mean, there's also the fact that, okay, this is me, again, being snooty and all that stuff. The DVD market in the U.S., and I don't mean the anime DVD, I mean the general DVD market is starting to flatline.
Yeah.
Because you always have this upswell. Whenever they introduce a new format, there's an upswell because everybody has to buy the White Album again.
Yeah.
Everybody has to buy their copy of The Godfather again. But now everybody.
Star Wars trilogies.
Yeah, everybody's bought what they're going to buy, and there's not enough things left to be released.
Yeah.
Which I said this to the American Animation Panel. You will see shows that you haven't thought of in years being released on DVD because they're going to tap everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's helping anime a lot too. Is they're here, we're willing to bring over anything because they need new product to put on the shelves.
And also, I mean, if one anime from one genre sells really, really well here, expect to find another anime from the same genre brought over a little while after that. Because, I mean, obviously, if one thing makes it, they're going to try to get as many other things that are similar to that to make it here. So.
Do you know anything about the Witchblade anime that's being produced?
Yeah.
The Talk House?
Witchblade's anime, I believe it's already been brought over. I believe it's already been signed to be brought over here. When it's actually done being made, I'm not sure where it's going or even who does it yet, but I'm almost 100% certain that I read a couple days ago that it's being brought over here already. Because Witchblade was an American property, now it's being done in Japan, and we like to bring whatever was done in Japan that was originally done here over here as soon as possible.
Ooh, I want to see the Powerpuff Girls anime. Great example of us influencing Japan.
Yes.
I'm not talking about a Japanese dub of Powerpuff Girls, which is amusing in itself. They are making, I know there's some episodes done, but they haven't aired them yet. They showed it at the Tokyo Anime Show, an anime of the Powerpuff Girls. They look a little older, the uniform's a little more detailed, it's all anime style.
Is it similar to the doujinshi that was online? Or?
Yeah, it actually does look a lot like the Powerpuff Girls doujinshi that you can find. Yeah, it's insane, that's all I can really say. You watch it, and the girls are actually slightly dressed different. They better bring that over.
Yeah, they will.
So
they will. That'll be something that ends up on Cartoon Network. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we got about 10 minutes left. Any other questions? Was a cartoon first, and then they started making a DC comic out of it. Dexter's Laboratory was a DC comic for a while. I mean, there will be the occasional animation that does later become a comic, and there will be the occasional comic that later becomes an animation.
Yesterday we mentioned Gargoyles.
Yes,
going to be. I mean, if anybody who remembers Gargoyles, great Disney show from the 1990s. Used a lot of mythology from across the world. Big creatures defending New York. After 2 seasons, third season, really, really sucked.
Terrible. And
that was mostly because they fired the creator. They're like, we don't really want you anymore. Go away.
Yeah.
But now, Slave Labor Graphics, small comic book company here in the United States, is going to be producing a Gargoyles comic written by this creator, Greg Weisman, continuing from where he was fired.
Yeah.
So
that's coming out when?
They said fall.
Okay.
It was delayed. It was supposed to be this summer. It was delayed, but they definitely said like September, October. It's coming. Yeah. They've already also started the Haunted Mansion comic, which is actually kind of cool. I've never looked at it.
Yeah. Well, there's one thing that you got to remember about animation here in America, as opposed to in Japan where they go more for manga becomes animation and just like and things like that. Toy lines have a lot to do with what gets made here in America. So there might be a good toy line out there. There might be a good animation out there that then becomes a toy line, or a toy line that becomes an animation.
That was, we all remember the 80s when pretty much every show was created to sell toys.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was only created because they wanted them to sell toys of the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, the guy who was responsible for pretty much all that died like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his name was, I think, Ed Loomis. He gave us Strawberry Shortcake, Rainbow Bright.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And he worked at like Hasbro and Mattel. I mean, he basically, he's also the reason why Barbie is so big. Yeah. Across the world.
And hey, I mean, they tried a couple Barbie cartoons and they didn't really catch on. So, I mean,
I've never actually seen, except for those little computer-generated mice and things.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's a different market over here in America, and they'll go for different source material to make this stuff out of. That's probably the best way to put it. So. Yeah. Basically, yeah. Any other questions in the crowd? Anybody? Yeah.
You said that the American DVD market is leveling off. I was curious, with the new high-def DVDs and Blu-ray.
Yes, thank you.
The Blu-ray stuff,
because we're still in a format war, these top-selling DVDs in HD DVD and Blu-ray, don't expect them to be too high right off the bat, because we told each other, actually, I think we're probably going to end up saying this in every single one of our panels. If you're interested in the HD stuff, hold off a year, because who knows if Blu-ray or who knows if HD DVD will be around a year from now, because just like with Beta and VHS, they're battling it out.
Betamax might be cool, but let's face it lost format.
Exactly, and just like one of these things might very well end up gold, and the same stuff that you might have bought on DVD, people are going to want to get in that HD format. So there might be people out there going to buy it now, but again, how many people out there are going to get both an HD DVD and a Blu-ray player? Because there'll be some stuff that only happening unless you get an Xbox. But I mean, there'll be some things that only come out in Blu-ray. There'll be some things that only come out in HD DVD. Because of that, you'll see a bit of a division.
Yeah, just so everybody knows that the whole thing with Blu-ray and HD DVD is that each studio has actually committed to one of the formats right now.
Yeah.
So, for example, I think
they make combo drives either because there's actually a clause in the contract that states you cannot make a combo drive with Blu-ray and HD DVD. So again, it will be a while. But let's get out of the technology and get back to
that's a whole nother panel that we didn't even plan for.
In the back? Okay. Yeah. Did you have a question here in the front?
The question was answered.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, exactly. Anything else, or okay? I guess that's it. Yeah. Reminder at 6:30 tonight, we're going to be doing the We Want a Revolution panel. WII Want a Revolution, which is basically a video game gripe panel. So anybody who has anything they want to talk about the next gens or the current gens or anything along those lines, that's when you do it. And midnight to 2 a.m. or whenever we feel like ending it, because they gave us 2 hours. Yeah, we'll put a sign up. It'll be the Adult Swim Revolution. So talking all things Adult Swim later tonight. So there you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.